Hi friends, welcome back to Faith and Arrow Homestead. My name is Jaylee and today we are going to do some gardening. It is January, there's still snow on the ground, but we're in a bit of an upswing in temperature. It is in the 40s today and tomorrow it's supposed to be almost 50 and it remains in the low 40s, high 30s for the foreseeable forecast. And so I want to go ahead and proceed with this. So what we're doing is kind of a mixture of a few different things. Now, you may have seen other YouTubers do cold frames, which is where they build these boxes, and they're almost like little mini greenhouse boxes. I've seen YouTubers use windows and all sorts of different things to try and build these like little mini greenhouses. And that's kind of what we're doing, but this is also an attempt to do the milk jugs. Have you heard of people starting their seeds, their cold hardy seeds outdoors in milk jugs and getting kind of a jump on the season that way? We're kind of combining those two concepts, and I'm doing two different things here. So I went to Walmart and I think it was like $13. I bought this Sterilite tote and it's a pretty decent size. I don't know if you can tell, I already put holes in it. I put holes on the bottom and I put holes around the sides for both drainage as well as some airflow, just some gentle airflow. And then this does have a lid, and you do need a tote that has not only a lid, but hopefully a clear lid. And so that's what I have here. And then behind me right here, I have a bag of topsoil and a bag of manure compost from my local garden store. And I tested both of them because here I have some kale sprouts that I started from seed. So I started these little babies from seed, weeks ago, I don't really even remember when. And we are going to transplant them into this tote, these kale plants. However, I started them in little seed cells and then I up-potted them into this topsoil manure mixture to make sure that it wasn't contaminated with anything. If you've been on this channel for any length of time, you know that I have struggled with contaminated soil in the past, and so now we test any soil that comes onto this property or into this house. So I up-potted them using that, and they're doing fine. They're thriving, they're looking great. It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks now since I did that, and they've doubled in size and they're doing awesome. So we know that these bags of soil and manure are safe, so we're good to go on that front. You're about to see out on my patio, I also have a bale of straw. So I want to try and do a little bit of insulating. So I'm actually going to put a layer of straw in the bottom and some straw up the sides of the tote before I pour in my topsoil and manure. So let's go ahead and do that. I actually need to shovel off a spot on my patio because it's still really snowy out there. We had like over a foot, so although it is warm, it's just taking a long time to melt. So I'm gonna go shovel a quick spot for us to pop down and then we will get started with this project. I'm so excited. So I was just saying that I needed to clear a spot off my patio so that we could come out here and do this, but then I was thinking, wait, that doesn't make any sense because when I add the soil and manure to this tote, I'm not going to be able to move it. It's going to be very heavy. So instead, we need to come out here and figure out where we are going to put this. It's so weird because it is so warm out here, and yet it is still so snowy. There are the girls out enjoying some free range time. Yeah, it's warm, but it's still icky. So we need to figure out where we are going to put this tote. It's ugly. And I don't think that there's a whole lot I can do to make it not ugly. So we need to be strategic in where we put it because I want access to it, but I don't want to have to look at it very much. And I do want it to have pretty good access to the sun. I want it to have good sun exposure so that we can have our greenhouse effect and it can thrive. So I'm thinking perhaps I should probably put it somewhere in my main, if you're new to my channel, this is my main garden compound. It's in the shape of a U, and then I've been adding beds into the middle there. And I've got like pots and stuff like all around. And so maybe I should put it in here. I just hate that it's so ugly. So here in the front, this is the very first bed, and then right on the other side, there's another one matching. This one here. Nope. This one, yep, right here. I've got pots in front of them. I've got a pot here and a pot here. Maybe I should put it alongside one of these here. That would be an okay spot for it, maybe. maybe I should go get it and bring it with me so we can try it in some places and see what we think. That's so ugly. I can't do that. I cannot do that to this beautiful space. It's going to look so redneck no matter where I put it. There's nowhere I can put it where it's not going to look redneck. There's one more place I was thinking, and it might end up having to be this way. Over here is where I have my lilies, but I only have one successful lily, and it's, whoops, scared him, and it's this one right here. This will be 4 years old this year. And I have a big gap right here where I've tried to put lilies, but none of them have taken off. So I could put it right here. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be missing out on a little bit of morning light because of the fireplace blocking it a little bit, but it won't be too bad. And I struggled with this spot last year because I had really bad weeds there, and it was a point of annoyance for me. So putting that there will help obviously naturally block out some of the weeds. My big beautiful lily is not imposed upon at all. It's fine there, and then I could always plant things around it. I've got a little spot right here where I could put something and maybe some stuff in front, so I could make it look okay. And maybe once it's full of dirt, it'll look more natural. No, it won't. I think that's where I'm gonna put it. All right, let's get the stuff. All right, let's go ahead and put a layer of straw in this tote. So the reason I was putting in the straw was to offer some insulation to try and hopefully keep the soil itself a little warmer, because we're only in January. February is always a brutal month for us here in New York, and so I'm assuming it's probably going to get cold again, even though we are in a little bit of a warm spell. However, as I was putting it in there, I was like, there's probably seeds in this, like weed seeds, wheat seeds, I don't even know, some kind of seeds. And so I was gonna put it on the bottom and up the sides, and I decided I'm just gonna put it on the bottom. It's a small confined area, so even if I do have to do some weeding, that's fine. I don't mind too much, but obviously I want to try to keep it minimal, so I'm just gonna put it on the bottom, and I'm not going to put it on the top. And it'll be good because it's kind of like natural mulching on the bottom. It'll eventually decompose and feed the soil. So, I mean, it's a good thing to have for both reasons, but I'm just a little worried about the seeds. So I've got the straw in the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some of the topsoil. Now here's the thing, you don't want to fill this up too much because we have to put the lid on it, and it needs room to grow, because once they are so big that I can't put the lid on it anymore, it needs to be warm enough that they can survive without it. Does that make sense? And so I have a good, I'm so bad at like guesstimating measurements, I don't know, 8 inches there for these to grow, because right now they're just like 2-3 inches tall. So they've got plenty. They've got like a month and a half, I would guess. And kale is a cold weather crop. So I think I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to see if this works. We're doing 2 experiments in one. Obviously the kale is an experiment, but we are also, like I said, going to use these like they are it's a milk jug, and we are going to start some seeds. So I have used the milk jug method. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is where you take a milk jug and you cut it in half, but leave it on like a hinge, leave one side intact, and you fill the bottom with soil, and then you can sow your seeds in it, leave it outside. I think with the cap off so that water can get down in there, and it acts as like a little baby greenhouse, and you can start your seeds outside. And so anything that is kind of more on the cold hardy side, you can start and get a good jump on it without taking up room indoors. And I did that 2 years ago with my poppies, and it worked beautifully, and I had poppies all over my property that year, and I just absolutely loved it. And so we're going to start Lauren's Grape, Mother of Pearl, Amazing Gray, and Oriental Red poppies. I'm just going to sprinkle some seeds in here. This is not seed starting soil, so this may not work, but I'm just going to give it a shot. Why not? And then if they do germinate and grow, then I can either leave them in the tote or I can transplant them elsewhere, or maybe a little bit of both. I'm not going to need this whole tote. I only have 4 kale plants, so I thought, oh, and I'm sorry, and then also I had somebody in a comment section suggest to me starting my hollyhock seeds in milk jugs outside, same process. And I already knew that I was going to be doing this when she said that. So I was like, I'll include that in there and we'll just give it a shot. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put my kale plants in here along the back, but leaving some space kind of middle back so that they can grow and get big. And then in the front here, I will sow a row of poppies and some hollyhocks. I've got to be quick because my chickens are right here and they are going to eat these kale plants. This is my Hori Hori tool, by the way. I don't think I've mentioned it on this channel very much. I was actually gifted this years ago, and I love it. It's Bare Bones brand. I will tag it down in the description. I've been very hard on it. I've left it outside for weeks, and it's still holding up really well, and it still looks really beautiful. I love this tool. I do want to mention briefly that I only hardened these off one time, and it was yesterday, and that is because with it being it was in the 40s yesterday, it's going to be in the 40s today, it's going to be in the 40s tomorrow, and then it drops down to like 38, 37, 36, kind of in that range. And so I really wanted to get them planted out here while it was still in the 40s. I figure that kind of was hardening them off the best way I'm going to be able to. There's just really not the opportunity for it, so I recognize that that may be a struggle, but it's kale. Kale's hardy, so I'm hoping it does okay in here. So I am going to come out here in a few minutes and do some watering, but I've got some other things that I need to accomplish. But I will water those in, don't worry. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get the lid on because I've already had chickens jumping in here. And I did want the lid. I liked that this tote had the snaps so that even, because this lid is already busted because you know how totes are, they bust so easily. But it's got the snaps to help keep it in place. So if it's windy or if the chickens are messing with it or whatever, it will hopefully stay on. So fingers crossed, you guys. I really hope that this works and that we can have like a little mini greenhouse. And I'm excited about this project because this is another growing space for me all season. So maybe I'll do some onions in here during the regular growing season, or some flowers or some herbs, or who knows. But I'm happy to have another growing space, and I'm happy to have potentially something that I can use as a season extender or an early season starter. So we'll see how it goes. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing so that you can stay tuned and see how this goes for us. So I just wanted to give you this idea, and I wanted to give it to you early because it's only January, so you have plenty of time to implement something like this yourself if you think that might be something that you want to try as well. So thanks so much for hanging out, you guys. Can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith and keep moving forward. Bye.